Okay, we are just above the middle of the page, a few lines above that, page Beis. The line begins with the word Pnimius.
No, it's David.
David? Ah.
Yeah.
Hi, David. Hi. So you don't have to mute your phone. Pnimius Kmei B'Rosh Hashanah. So we identified Kabbalah Soil, Malchus Shemayim, throughout the year on two levels. Kabbalah Soil, Malchus Shemayim, D'chol Hayom, throughout the day. There has to be the principle of Kabbalah Soil. A person throughout the day must not be in a hefker, in a no man's land, so to speak. There has to be there's a sense of a reality. This is called Hayom. But there, the Kabbalah Soil is Behelam. It's like in the background. It is not something which is present in his actual activity. But even then, there's another level, Kabbalah Soil Malchus Shemayim, that is specifically presented as a preparation for doing a mitzvah. This Kabbalah Soil Malchus Shemayim is much more present, much more consciously related to. But even then, it is not b'pnimius kmei b'Rosh Hashanah. And we explained this concept yesterday, the principle of pnimius, that it means that it is not completely initiated and triggered from the pnimius hanefesh. There is some cause, some external cause involved. He is ready to do a mitzvah, something within the realm of his activities. Therefore, this is not the pure inyan from Kabbalah Soil Malchus Shemayim, just as there is a melech. Avo mitzvahs hatshuva. But now we're coming, so to speak, to the point. What the aim over here is to identify the uniqueness of mitzvahs hatshuva. Mitzvah hatshuva is hamshachoso lemato. But the hamshacha of that mitzvah here below is different than the hamshacha of all the mitzvahs here below. But the hamshacha of the mitzvah of the tshuva here below, lamato, as it is presented to us, hu mibchinas onoichi, hu mibchinas atzmus ein sof mamash. It is from the bechina of atzmus ein sof shelamaylo mibchinas gilui, that is above the gilui element. Because we said that all the mitzvahs are nimshach lamato from the gilui harotzain, the fact that there is a rotzain, and mitzvahs hatshuva is nimshach lamato, not from bechinas atzmus ein sof mamosh, shelamaylo bechinas gilui, above the inyan of gilui. Again, I want to reiterate what we said yesterday, that when we say it's nimshach from, everything is nimshach ultimately from the highest and the most concealed element of atzmus. The question is, what is reflected in this hamshach? In other words, where does it begin? Where does it begin to be identifiable, this hamshach? The fact that it's nimshach from atzmus, from the highest stimul, that is in the background. As the Rambam says, that the first principle is to know that there is a first being. If there is, without the first being, nothing begins. But there are dargis in how things further nimshach and further developed. If not for this dargis, it would not be developed. This is the point, that it's nimshach So it's saying tshuva is nimshach von atzmos in soif mamash l'malan b'chinas gilui, above the b'china of gilui. And I'll come back after we have the full presentation. And as the Pasuk says, this mitzvah which refers to over there in the Pasuk talks about mitzvahs hatshuva. This mitzvah, that onoichi is mitzavcha. Onoichi gives you this mitzvah. And what is all of a sudden, the use of the word onoichi? V'neida, it's known the hain of bechinas onoichi. This onoichi refers to the bechina. It's called onoichi because there's in Tanakh there's onoichi hu menachemchem. Harei that refers to us the harei hamshochos olamata, which tells us that the hamshocha of the mitzvah hatshuva lamato here below hu mibchinas onoichi mishe onoichi. The reference of onoichi means onoichi as I am unto myself, not as I am a begili. Misha onoichi. Because onoichi havaya lekecho. So havaya is yud vovke, which denotes, which represents yud, the seder, the process of hamshocha. Yud, from yud into the k, and to the vav into the k. Whereas onoichi is the initial reality, the misha onoichi. That is not in a state of hamshocha. That is misha onoichi, the way I am unto myself. And that is, but this is where the tzivui and the granting of the meaning of the mitzvah of tshuva comes from. Now, as we said yesterday, we have to understand that nevertheless, even though it comes from that, the mitzvah of tshuva was given as a mitzvah. If not for the fact that it was given as a mitzvah, then it would not exist. In other words, we could not create the mitzvah of tshuva, if not for the fact that it was given. And as we discussed yesterday, that mitzvah of tshuva is, so to speak, allegorically a view where the melech gives mitzvahs, he gives commands, and he says, this is how you should behave. And if you behave thusly, I will be able to be with you, because then I can feel comfortable in your presence and being with you. But if you transgress on that, then you are excluding me from your presence, and it's impossible for me to be with you. Like it says in Pasuk, that Hashem chose to accept and to be with them within their tumah. But there is a limit, and if you really transgress, then it can be, the Shekhinah cannot be there. Then there is, again, allegorically, an afterthought. Is it possible for me to divorce myself from them ultimately? It's impossible. Regardless of the fact that it makes it impossible for me to be with them. And therefore, I'm presenting them with the mitzvah of tshuva. That after all, that in their actions, in their orientation and mode of life, they are not including my presence. But any time that they want to turn back and recognize our special relationship, I will be there for them. but they step out of their normal, so to speak, natural orientation. The mokim where they are oriented, where their activities take place, and they focus on one reality. They don't want to know anything. They just want to know that I'm still there. Then I will be for them. This is in Hatshuva. This is, again, it is a mitzvah. In other words, he tells him, I will be there if you really come back. This inyan, this is in answer to your question of imcha. This is something which is a grant, milmaila. And this is why it's called a mitzvah, onoichi mitzavcha. If not for the mitzvah, then we couldn't reach that. But we have to understand, and this is where it becomes a little subtle, but we should try and understand what the Rebbe explains, that all the mitzvahs are rooted in the Gilui Horotz. Like we said, Hashem wants to be present with us. Gilui Horotz. And He's giving us the means by which His presence will be possible. This is the Gilui Horotz. Whatever mitzvah we do, even the mitzvah of tzedakah, which it says, "Kol mitzvahs nikroim Hashem tzedakah." What is the mitzvah of tzedakah? Mitzvah of tzedakah is denoting that the inyan that we get our highest from the Meibash, the inyan that there is a world, and that the world has the godly brightness and the goodness. This is all inyan from tzedakah. There is tzedakah Hashem. There isn't anything that is compelling Hashem to actually provide this kind of goodness. Nothing. This is inyan from tzedakah. And because that we live with the consciousness that our whole existence, not just the existence, but our spiritual existence, is a tzedakah element, is a gift. So we respond in kind, and we also give tzedakah to those who need our assistance. So, where's the root of the mitzvah of tzedakah? The fact that the Rebbe is doing tzedakah with us. That was inyan from Gilui Horotz. Otherwise, how can we? Where is the mitzvah of tzedakah coming? It's rooted in the fact that the whole mitzvah of the world is inyan from tzedakah. Clearly, when you talk about Shabbos is always here mit alle Sachen. What is the principle? This is how Hashem relates to the world, and this is what Shabbos represents. If Hashem would not relate to the world, there would be no Shabbos. It's all representative of the Gilui Horotz. It's all coming from Gilui Horotz, and the fact that there is a Gilui, and it wants to be in a worldly framework. This is why there is all the mitzvahs. All the mitzvahs, even mitzvahs of korbanos and mitzvahs of Tara and Kedusha and all that has to do with Gilui Horotz, except for Tshuva. Tshuva is how Hashem is unto Himself, and He, from that perspective, He also wants to respond to us. This is why Tshuva. This is this special status of Tshuva. This is not from Gilui Horotz, but from the Atzmos itself. And the rotzen comes from the Atzmos itself. Ve'al kein, just get a little lubrication. Ve'al kein, and thus, for this reason, Kol inyan hatshuva, the principle of tshuva, hu davka bibchinas pnimis hanefesh, davka. Kol inyan hatshuva hu davka bibchinas pnimis hanefesh, davka. That in Hatshuva is a requirement that it should be bibchinas pnimis hanefesh. The in Hatshuva is not to avoid consequences and avoid punishment. This is not the principle of Inyan Hatshuva. And that, in effect, does not eliminate the possibility, God forbid, of punishment. Because on what merit? If there was a profanity, if there was an inadequacy, on what merit are you not going to how the whole meaning of punishment? Let's take this a little bit to its meaningful status. Punishment clearly is not just a revenge. Punishment is to restore the nefesh to its state of purity, to reconnect it back to Elokus, so that it would shed, through punishment, it sheds all the experience of pleasure, or whatever it is, that was gotten, that was obtained from a wrong source. It sheds this experience, and it comes back and restores back to its connection to its source in Elokus. This is the whole principle of punishment. So, if one is asking, please don't give me punishment, how is that going to restore his nefesh to Kedusha? There has to be something deeper that enables it to be restored back to Kedusha. That's what says, Kolin Hatshuva Mibchinas Pnimis Davka. Pnimis Davka means that, as we explained yesterday, Pnimis means that it is initiated from the nefesh itself, not because of consequences, but the nefesh senses its distance, and it wants and it reconnects. It says, no, I don't belong here. I belong over there. I don't have gotten here. Pnimis hanefesh davka. It is not the consideration, recognition of consequences. That does not constitute tshuva, and does not have the effect of tshuva. Pnimis hanefesh, Commissioner Kosuv, as the pasuk says, L'cho omar libi, to you my heart said, excuse me, bakshu ponai. I explained last time, this is just a repeat of a week ago. Bakshu ponai, the expression bakshu, they will seek. Lashon rabim in the plural form. The plural form is used in the Torah to denote the totality of presence, my whole being. including everything. So my pnimius is seeking you, but not just the pnimius at the moment when I recognize my distance. My whole being. That's mean bakshupon. If a person, let's say, one does tshuva, let's take it, this is so obvious. One does tshuva, and he says, okay, I sinned, let me do tshuva, and then I'll go back to my old ways. Clearly that's not tshuva, even though at this moment he really wants to reconnect, but he's not really reconnecting in totality. In other words, he's reconnecting only that nekudas hanefesh that wants to be there, but the rest of the nefesh, the gilui hanefesh, it remains out. So this is the pshat bakshu. Loshen Rabbi, I mean not just the nekuda where I really feel it, I mean the entire self, and all my orientation, all my interests. Oksiv. And the pasuk also says, "Mima'amakim krosicha." Mima'amakim, as we explained already before, from mima'amakim means double depth, and I read the moshel of the earth, the water in the earth. Double depth means that depth which is beyond being expressed in a functional level. From the etzem, that's called mima'amakim. That which is. And just as we discussed in the case of the water in the depths of the earth, there is the water in the depths of the earth that is accessible from the surface. This water is meant for the surface. Then there is the water that is in the depth of the earth that is not readily accessible from the surface. There has to be an excessive effort, so to speak, the step where you say, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up means I've done everything on the normal form of activity. And then I say, I'm not giving up. This not giving up, this is an extra step. That says I'm going to reach whatever it is. Not even that which is not meant, so to speak, for me to reach it, for me to reach it. I'm going to reach it anyway. This is ma'amakim, the double depth. And this is pnimis hanefesh, to reach that in the nefesh, which is where that stays within the nefesh, that is not conscious of the effect of the misdeeds. It is the purity of the nefesh itself.
What's the middle place? The depth, just the plain depth.
The plain depth. This is that which was severed as a result of the misdeed. How can I have forgotten about the Meibus right here? The Meibus is everything for me. This is normal oimek. I made a mistake. I'm coming right back where I belong. And the ma'amakim is beyond the error, beyond the effect, the effect of the misdeed. It is that part that was not affected by the misdeed.
From the Milo, we would say the middle place is Gilui
Yes, this is to restore the Inha mitzvahs. Restore the Inha mitzvahs. This is the normal charot, but the mitzvah hatshuva per se is a completely different stage, level. And that literally doesn't just wipe away, wash over the dirt. It brings a new source of life from the source. Ma'amakim.
You said before that you said imcha meant that it wouldn't have existed if Hashem didn't give it.
Right.
But here we say that the tshuva, when he reaches the pneumius hanefesh, this is really reflective of tshuva.
Right.
Pneumius nefesh. Don't we have that regardless of whether there's pneumius hanefesh? Isn't that just based on what the nefesh is, or that's connected dafka only to a mitzvah?
Please. The pnimis hanefesh is the ultimate relationship. Like I said, how do we decide that allegorically in Hatshu? There's no way I'm going to separate, because this nefesh is my nefesh. Because in the pnimis hanefesh there is that Ayin that the Rebbe has put himself into. The Rebbe himself put himself into this pnimis hanefesh.
Okay. So this is sort of reflective of the Eibusher's choice to be there.
Yes.
And instead, it's not the Eibusher himself. It's his voluntary choice. This is similar to the
we have to always remember, this is Atzmus and all that, there is no compelling element.
Okay.
It's all volitional.
This is equivalent to Etzem al-Or, basically.
This is
later what we talk about. Oh, wow.
This is right. The Shomash Yisrael are rooted in Etzem as we said then.
And that's what it means. That's the imcha.
That's the imcha. Because it's oir.
Excuse me. I just have one question.
No, you can't. They're in the middle of it right now.
How do you treat the Lashon Hara? I don't think you can do it. You can do it, but you know what? You get a big bill in the end.
The gam in the Stuart Ator.
Calculate it up there where it went and what time, and it's added up. God figures it out from people what each little.
The gam, you will have to do tshuva for interrupting our learning.
Right. So I thought that was important that you mentioned that. That's what I feel.
The gam bechinas tshuva tator.
Right.
So this means mamakim krosicho. That means in tshuva in general, that even the Bechin of Tshuva Tato, the lower level of Tshuva. And what is the lower level of Tshuva? Shiacharot al ha'over v'kabol al haba, which is definitely has a functional definition. He knows what he is repenting for, and he is doing Tshuva because Charot al ha'over kabol al haba. Shezehu iker ha'tshuva. This is the principle of tshuva in api poshut in a simple sense. Meshikosim harambam yichas tshuva perik beis alcha beis, and the Rambam describes tshuva as following: Sheyazev. This is the translation ikin hatshuva. Sheyazev hachoitei chetoi v'yasirim ilibay. That the choitei should leave his sin, his ways of sin. V'yasirem eliboy. And this is what we said before, the plural element. Yasirem eliboy means that not he is just regretting what he has done in the past, but he is still going back to there when he is no longer feeling guilty. V'yasirem eliboy means he will remove it from his heart. He no longer has that inclination, because he is inclined to be connected to Elokus rather than to this. Okay, so now we have to interrupt till tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem. Have a good day. And this is it for this morning.
Sorry that we interrupted. I've been bothering you for a while. And since this happened to be the subject of tshuva, it hit right home. I said, wow, I gotta ask. That they have a way. There must be a way, like everything else, to calculate. You can't do.